Okay, guys, this is Neon back with more Clownfish TV. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we have another update on Shira. Now, actually, the media has been very, very quiet about Shira for the last couple weeks. There was a wave of articles defending...
The BS articles?
The friendly media came out to defend the new Shira from all those nasty, nasty men who didn't like Shira.
Fan art has been my way to Shira is immersive, uplifting. Fan art brightens up the internet article. Yeah, well, yeah, I agree with the fan art. What I still say, which is hilarious with the fan art, is all these pieces of fan art are like, I like the new Shira design. I like it. It's perfect as it is. And then when they do their fan art, they make her look more feminine.
Well, yeah.
And they give her boobs. And I'm like, that's the problem people have with it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about, I just want to read some of these headlines off first. We're going to talk about this. Yeah, Shira fans rally behind new animated series design after fan, in quotes, backlash. The new Shira cartoon isn't sexy enough for some men.
No, I'm sorry. Go back to the last one. So if you don't like it, you're not a real fan. You're a quote fan, because all real fans just love everything you dish out to them because it has a Shira name slapped on it.
Right, and this is the same thing happening with Star Wars, same thing happening with comics, where the friendly, quote-unquote friendly media tries to paint anyone who does not like the current direction of things as some kind of a nasty, nasty hater.
And a man.
And they usually throw politics into it. Yeah, they're usually a man, they're usually white, and they're usually alt-right. You know, because just Nazis are going out. Nazis are spending all day going out on the internet and trashing this stuff.
The quote-unquote fan thing is even more funny when you see what comes up later. We're going to show you is the quote-unquote fan backlash, because people who are fans aren't really fans, but the new people who love it are fans, which we're going to talk about in a minute.
The most recent article we could find on Shira, since they've gone into radio silence. There's been nothing on Facebook about Shira, but they've been retweeting all kinds of fan art. Noelle Stevenson's been retweeting all kinds of fan art.
She nitpicking the good fan art that looks like her stuff?
She's not saying anything. She's just retweeting, as far as I can tell.
Because most of the fan art looks like girls.
Yeah. Well, so we're going to go through this article here, and it's just kind of like they're almost using fan artists as like shields, because these people like it. These people we cherry picked off a Tumblr like it. That means it's great.
Wait, like this title, first of all, the fan artists discuss why the wave of Shira fan art
is subversive and uplifting.
Hilarious when you find out who these quote-unquote fans are. Now, number the people who don't like it, who are Shira fans from way back and like Shira as it is, and don't think they need to make her look like a boy, are the quote-unquote fans. Now, these are the true fans that are doing the fan art, and that are here. They're gonna tell us all about the true.
We're gonna learn about the true fans.
The true fans.
Now this illustration up here, and we're gonna learn more about her later. Juho Choi, I think that's how you pronounce her name, and I'm very sorry if I mangled that. But here's the article. On July 16th, graphic novelist, screenwriter, producer, and animator Noelle Stevenson revealed 4 images online and set off a tiny internet war.
Oh yeah, it's just so small. It's just
a tiny internet war.
That required so many articles to do damage control. But go ahead.
Those images were the first stills from Shira and the Princesses of Power, Stevenson's upcoming Netflix reboot of the 1980s Filmation Mattel collaboration, Shira, Princess of Power, companion show, The He-Man Masters of the Universe. Oh my
Why
God.
does she keep getting all the credit?
Because Chuck Austin is one of the executive producers, and
but they keep saying, "Oh, it's Noelle Stevenson."
Because it is kind of interesting in this particular situation regarding Stevenson. She literally was kind of plucked off of Tumblr, thrown into comics, and then
there's more to it than that. But
well,
some other story.
Yeah, and given supposedly complete control over this show after limited work in comics, but apparently
and limited work in animation.
I guess she'd done a couple of scripts.
Yeah, she did a couple of scripts. Yeah. When is she an animator?
Well, I don't think she's ever been an animator. She might be a storyboard artist. I have no idea. But Chuck Austin is involved in this. And it's so weird you don't hear about Chuck Austin at all. I don't know if he's still involved, but all this, everything you hear about shows all the women working on the show. But Chuck Austin, who has,
well, he's a man.
Yeah, I know. What I'm saying, they're burying the fact that he's even involved.
But you think they bring that out, all men don't hate Shira. Here's, person Chuck Austin, he's on Shira and he doesn't hate it.
No idea.
You think they'd be bringing that out as damage control, but they're not.
But the only reason that you hear anything about Chuck Austin, who has years and years of experience working in animation, is from the Mary Sue of all places. I'm like, wait, Chuck Austin's involved? And he's actually co-showrunner. So,
well, the next sentence I find funny. they're simple pictures, a few characters in the background, but they made some people extremely angry. But I thought it was a tiny group of people who are mad. So we're going to use a tiny internet word to diminish the word tiny to diminish the backlash, and then use extremely as the word to discuss those tiny people to try to, I'm like, really, people? People aren't this stupid. You think that using these words, they won't catch it. They're not that dumb.
Stevenson Shira has sparked some of the inevitable internet outrage that accompanies any modern reboot, most of which breaks down to these new characters don't look like the ones I remember from my childhood, and this doesn't look like it was designed with my tastes in mind. On Twitter, a handful of vocal social media users complained that the new design isn't as voluptuous and glamorous as she used to be. Reddit users posted an even more radical set of complaints ascribing the updated design to some sort of conspiratorial agenda against traditional femininity.
I'm sorry, I still stand by that. I do. I mean, Shira was Shira for a reason, and she was an icon, and she's always been an icon. It'd be like taking Wonder Woman, and now Wonder Woman looks like a 12-year-old boy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why people are mad, and there's a good reason why people are mad. And I'm so tired of that, well, it's not for you. Well, you know what? If you're basing an entire new reboot on something that's an established IP with an established fan base, you know what? It's effing for me.
Yeah, because there's no other
reason.
reason.
Middle fingers right now.
There's no other reason to dredge up an old IP than to cash in on nostalgia.
Right. There's no point.
So why, change?
And I still want to know what's wrong with being feminine and kick-ass. I mean, why can't you have boobs and kick-ass? I just don't understand it.
At the same time, an enthusiastic wave of artists picked up the new designs, sharing their own fan versions of Stevenson's Shira. And
Stevenson's bastardized Shira, but yes.
She didn't even design it. There was another character designer. I don't even think Stevenson designed it.
No, when they had the original information out, it wasn't her design now.
No, now it's her design. On Tumblr, Twitter, and Instagram, and it's immediately been evident that while some of the huge wave of artists producing Shira fan art are men, they're predominantly women, and according to their bios, portfolios, and online listings, mostly women in their 20s. So what's wrong with the math on this?
They didn't grow up with Shira for one, which is okay.
Right.
New people can like things. They're saying, okay, here are a couple things on this. They're men, but they're mostly women. Well, so what? I would expect it to be mostly women because she's an icon to women. And you know what? I would like to see an independent audit on this, on who's doing it. And I actually might spend a few hours trying to find out myself because I might because I'm just like, isn't that convenient? Anyway, but go ahead.
Okay, so in their own versions of the character, they've emphasized different aspects of Shira, sometimes making her dreamier, more aggressive, or significantly younger or older than Stevenson's version, but it's noteworthy how closely they're sticking to Stevenson's costume.
They're not sticking to the body design.
Are they going to actually call the show Noelle Stevenson's Shira? Noelle Stevenson, directed by Noelle Stevenson.
It's all by Noelle Stevenson.
Noelle Stevenson.
Oh, that reminds me of a funny story once. So, Noelle was working on a comic. I'm not going to say where it was or what it was, because that might give away who it was. And he got some help. He was on a team. He was in charge of the team, weren't you? Or like you were splitting the work.
Yeah, I think so. Me?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
You know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
And then one person asked if they could help. And you said, yeah, sure, cool.
Oh my God, yeah, I'm not going to name the guy.
I'm not going to say this person was,
I know the
but they went and did things. They're supposed to do one thing. What were they supposed to do?
I brought that person in to finish inking and color that particular project.
Just one, like a
couple. This is like 10 years ago.
So this person then took it upon themselves to change a script, which was somebody else's script.
Yeah.
Change a bunch of things.
Yeah,
and then,
it wasn't even my script. It was
then went into the credits and then said, drawn by that person, written by that person, edited by that person, colored by that person. It was this person's, somehow this person just came in as a helper and up making the entire thing by themselves. I mean, they actually wasn't the one who made it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was made mostly by like Neon and somebody else, but he took all the credits made it mostly by him.
And there were some emails back and forth with the editor, and the editor basically smacked the guy down because he was trying to basically make it the him show.
Yeah,
and
that's what this reminds me of.
I'm seeing this too because again, the fact that like you're not hearing about the team now, all you hear about is Noelle Stevenson.
So I mean, the team of all white women and or
diverse,
light-skinned women.
The diverse team of white women. Okay, which is fine. I mean, that's fine. I mean, that's not. I mean, I don't have an issue with that. What I have an issue with is just like you're not allowed to not like something.
It's not her body design though. Most people are not mimicking her body design. That's the funny part.
Yeah, it's noteworthy how closely they're sticking to Stevenson's costume and body design, even as they vary widely in style and intent. The Verge reached out to some fan artists for comment on their work.
This is where the quotes come in. When you say fan quotes, this is where the quotes come in.
Okay, this is very telling. This is very telling.
Oh, and where they went was Tumblr.
Yeah, okay. So personally, I really love the new design, says Juho Choi, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I'm sorry if I'm not.
Oh, wow.
A 20-year-old art student at the Rochester Institute of Technology. 20-year-old art student at the Rochester Institute of Technology. It's simple and pleasing to the eye. There's currently a lot of controversy over this new design, calling it masculine, but I think it's still a very feminine design, and it's not that hypersexualized.
But Shira was.
It's really nice to see a female hero character redesigned and freed from, but this isn't political. It's really nice to see a female character redesigned and freed from the traditional comic book idea of functional attire for women.
They did little mini comics for it and turned it into comics. She wasn't a comic book character.
No, technically she wasn't. Choi said she'd never heard of the...
Yeah.
Choi said she'd never heard of the 1980s TV show or the character before the wave of reactions to the first reboot images, but that she was immediately interested in the character because of the instant community of other creators drawing Shira. Choi's initial version of the character is highly stylized, melancholy version that she says was directly inspired by the initial backlash.
Okay, so let's recap for you. So this person, who you might be saying her name wrong, and my comment to that is, maybe you should have looked it up and did some research on it.
Oh, before
you said it, just like maybe they should have looked up and done some research on it, because they don't even know Shira. They're not even a fan of Shira. They don't even like Shira.
Let me rewrite this. Once the 20-year-old art student saw there was all kinds of attention to be had,
and you can get a lot of Tumblr,
you get a lot of view on Tumblr. Then a whole bunch of Tumblr artists decided to come out and draw Shira. So Noelle Stevenson would retweet the fan art. That is not indicative of the actual general public. Tumblr artists, webcomic artists in particular, will latch on. It's like almost like ambulance chasing. They will latch on to anything. A celebrity dies. Oh my God, you've got Tumblr art.
It's for sale.
It's for sale. That literally happened. It was so it creeped me out so much. When Robin Williams died, when Harold Ramis died, when these celebrities die, that like Tumblr is there with fan art the day they die. For sale. I'm like, oh my God.
Fan art in honor of them, but immediately they're like, it's for sale.
And it's all about jumping on that.
Comic? Look at my comic.
Right. It's all about jumping on that trending topic. I personally find it like really disturbing that, and I've never done that, and I won't do that. But when somebody passes away and it's trending on Twitter, here comes all the fan art of all the artists trying to get. And that's what this is. Oh, what's trending on Twitter right now? Shira. Oh, I'm gonna go. I don't watch it. I don't know what the hell it is. I don't even understand why people are mad about it. But I'm gonna go do a stylized version of it and hashtag it Shira so that it gets reposted. So I get attention, and I get lots of likes. It worked. She got on the Verge. I actually don't mind that picture. Yeah, it's actually not bad. I mean, she's not a bad artist. I'm not. I mean, I want to be clear.
Looks too young, but
yeah, I'm not bad mouthing this artist. I'm just saying, like, this is the mentality. Like, just because you have a lot of young Tumblr creators.
So where'd they go to find these gigantic fans? Tumblr. Where did Noelle Stevenson come from? Tumblr. I'm just saying.
Noelle Stevenson, who's only about 5 or 6 years older than these art students and has been given complete control of a show, she was basically plucked off of Tumblr when being on Tumblr was the it thing to be. For the Hawkeye initiative, and then sort of...
I tried to pick Shira as peaceful and grand, unperturbed by the negativity around her. There's negativity for a reason. Here's the thing, people. Many people need to learn this on comics in general, and everything in general. If you are going to work on a property that is an established property, that has an established fan base, and then people have been... It's a beloved character for years, you need to do your damn homework. You need to actually watch the show. You need to understand the show. You don't just get to make up whatever the hell you want because, I get to run it now. I'm going to do it my way. You can put your own spin on it, but you still have to understand at the end of the day, at the core of it is the fan base and a character's IP.
It gets better. I didn't scroll down. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So here's another artist, and actually I like her.
She's a graphic novelist too. Yeah. Her face looks like she's constipated, but her arms look like girls.
Yeah, Savannah Ganushu, a 25-year-old artist and graphic novelist currently living in Australia, also says she has never watched the original show. But I've always been aware of Shira.
And she's a media icon in her own right. But Shira's original look and feel wasn't something that appealed to me when I was little. Well, who cares? Shira wasn't for you. I'm just saying, maybe she didn't appeal to you because she wasn't for you. sucks, doesn't it? I'm just saying.
Oh my god.
That looks like Steven Universe gone wrong.
Yeah, well, that's, I mean, kind of what, but I mean, the people they're interviewing, I mean, right there, that tells you, like, you have to kind of toss out the clear, like...
Stevenson's design reminded her of Clamp, the famous all-women manga collective that was formed in Japan. Specifically the costumes in Clamp series Magic Knight Ray Earth.
So all the gold and gem. Yeah, I mean, I like Clamp. I have a lot of respect.
I know. I'm just saying. They're trying to tie it into something that isn't necessarily. You know what you see what I'm saying? I'm gonna try to bring out that name and tie it into that, even though it's not tied into that. You know what I'm saying? Just look, my feminism flag. I'm flying it. Clamp. I'm flying it. It sounds like a sexually transmitted disease, though. I'm just saying.
Yeah, here we go again. Oh my God, the third one. Okay, so here's another one they interviews. A few artists even address Stevenson's detractors directly in fan art. One of the more passed around fan art images comes from 23-year-old Brazilian illustrator and comic book artist Renato Nolasco. Like Ganesho, and I can't pronounce it, I'm sorry, and Choi, she doesn't feel a strong connection to the original Shira. All I remember of her was what I saw in He-Man, and to be honest, she didn't strike me as an interesting character.
Then you didn't watch the show, because Shira was an awesome character. And that's insulting. That's insulting. So I don't know anything about this character. I never watched this character. I didn't look into the character. I just didn't think it was for me, so I didn't like it. But now that it's popular on Tumblr, it's suddenly for me, and suddenly she's an interesting character because we took the boobs off of her and give her man arms, made her look like a boy. So basically what you're saying is, when the character becomes a 12-year-old male, it's a more interesting character to you? What's wrong with a feminine woman? Is there a problem with her being feminine that you have a problem with? Because when you make her look like a boy, she's suddenly an interesting character. You still don't know anything about this character. There's no show to compare it to. And then you know what I'm saying? How can you know that suddenly this character is more interesting when there's been no show to even watch? Not that you even watched the old show to begin with.
That's just it. Like they're screaming these kids. I'm gonna call them kids because they're young. They're entirely too young to remember the show, and they'll admit
they didn't watch a show, but they want to make character. You want to talk about her character being, it's boring when you don't even watch the damn thing.
And this is the problem. This is the problem that we're having now in comics. Is you have a lot of these kids coming into comics that have zero knowledge a lot of times of the characters they're working on. They're just like, oh, ew, this is really like sexist and possibly
she's
racist.
Got boobs, that's icky.
Yeah, let's change it. Let's, even though the character was fine for like 30, 40, 50 years, you have to come in and change it because you have to fit it within your art school.
There's no other reason to do it other than you want the attention.
You want the attention.
And so you're going to find an iconic character that you don't like because you don't think it's, way you would do it, and then piss all over it because you want to make it yours to get the attention because it's a high profile gig. If they really cared about just making new characters and making characters that were like what they wanted and were awesome, they'd make their own damn stuff instead of trying to find other things to crap all over for the attention.
But that's not going to happen because they're not going to.
No, because no one's going to give them money for these people. Can't even finish a story in general. No one's going to give them money.
But I mean, the same with just the situation with like Noelle Stevenson. Like, I don't think she would be at 25 years old with limited animation experience be able to pitch a brand new thing.
Oh, I think there's a lot more behind the scenes on that.
And being given millions of dollars to just run with it.
I think that was more of we're going to pick somebody from Tumblr and mold them to be like our mascot than it is that it's deserved, kind of thing.
Yeah, there's some. Yeah, well, that's a whole nother. And I don't want to get into like trash talking individuals, but there's some weirdness, high strangeness surrounding that situation. Cartoons used to have a lot of these female versions of male characters, and they were never as interesting as the original content, which is clearly she hasn't watched the show, which is understandable since they were mostly made as a marketing strategy. She says she enjoyed the He-Man universe, but mostly encountered Shira through sexually suggestive or explicit fan art. Where the hell are you hanging out?
No, they do have it on there, but most of it is not that.
No, and Shira her design was very, very different from He-Man's. I mean, I like how she looks like her own character now, other than top model girl He-Man.
No, my God, she didn't look like top model girl He-Man.
She did. Now she looks like Ben 10.
Now she looks like a boy.
She looks like Ben 10
basically, she's a worthy character because she looks like a man. But I thought the whole point was we need strong female characters, but you make them look like a man and now they're okay? I mean, I'm not understanding this at all. What's wrong with being a woman?
Oh, God. Nolasco says she finds the new character's practical uniform, athletic build, and clear confidence, particularly... So the old Shira wasn't confident. And clear confidence, particularly...
This person hasn't watched the old Shira.
No.
So how would she flippin' know?
She seems like she has a point other than being pretty to sell.
You didn't watch Shira! If you watched Shira, you would see how dumb your comments are. These comments, if you never watched Shira, she had lots of points. There's lots of messages. It was a good show. But you wouldn't know this because that would actually require you to get off your fan art and your Cintiq or whatever you're using and actually haul ass to the internet and watch videos before you make comments.
Yeah.
And that would require effort. But oh my God, I might lose 5 minutes of making my fan art to get myself famous on Tumblr. I gotta do this now.
Yeah, it's just all the artists are coming forward. As with other attempts to answer online hatred with creativity, the fan artists are helping to define the narrative around the new show as one of ownership and participation. Instead of arguing with Stevenson's detractors, they're raising the new character's profile and well, they can't argue because the thing is, like, you know, if you had somebody be like, "Hey, do you remember that episode of Shira?" They'd be like, "No."
Well, you said ownership, but I thought you said that. Okay, these people are telling everybody who don't like it, it's not for you, and as fans, you don't have ownership of the property. But they're talking about how their community and liking it, whether or not they've seen anything other than a character design, gives them ownership. Which is flip is it? Either you have, as a fan, you have ownership, or you don't. So let's summarize. If you're a fan who does not like Shira, first of all, you're a fan in quotes, even though these people who've never watched Shira are the real fans. And secondly, you have no ownership over Shira, so you can't say anything. But we love it, so we have ownership. And we're going to spread the joy and love because it's all under our ownership. Which is it?
Well, that is Tumblr in a nutshell. TUMBLR Artists, this has just been my personal observation. Once they draw it, it's theirs. Even if it's somebody else.
But if you don't like
it's theirs.
You have no say or ownership
You're
over it. It's not for you. Now, beyond this whole article, which is clearly, you know, the biggest load of shit I've ever read.
This is a huge load of shit. This is like not even an article. It's just like...
So I'm going to go do a bunch of fan art of a character from a show I've never watched. And I'm going to do a bunch of fan art of it. And I'm going to go try to make intelligent comments about why I think I love love it and so important to me. Even though I've never watched it, I'm going to make broad, sweeping generalizations about it. I've never watched it. I know nothing about it other than I've seen it and here and there. And then I'm going to go on to Tumblr and I'm going to have a huge following because I make broad generalizations and talk like an idiot in an article.
Oh God, well, speaking of talking like an idiot, here she continues, and this is the biggest. Okay, so this is at Nolasco again. We have seen an uprising in women drawing comics and making cartoons. Yes, we have. Then that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing. Nolasco says, not only making them, but assuming leadership roles, it's inevitable that change will come with women making decisions.
Women have been making decisions for years.
They've been. Who do you think ran DC Comics for like 20, 30 years? It was a woman. Newsflash, and this is back in the 70s.
That's where I got in trouble because I had that narrative and they kicked me out of that one article because I didn't say, women haven't had any say in comics. I'm like, no, actually women have had says in comics for a while.
Who are the top paid manga artists? Who are the top literary agents representing cartoonists?
And who are the top graphic novels for kids? Who are the authors of those?
Right.
It's mostly women.
Old news. People
this is,
move on.
surprise, but that doesn't go with their narrative.
Who tells me what to do? Geeky Sparkles.
That's right.
So, I get that, but here's the thing. It's inevitable that change will come with women making decisions. I get that it can be a shock to men coming from generations used to the male gaze, but there is no coming back from here. We got to learn from the mistakes from the past and correct them, but also absorb what was good about them, and that's awesome. Yeah. No, you're
one, they're blaming men when it's mostly women who hate it.
Right, it's mostly women.
And two, no, what mistakes in the past being what? That it was mostly men? But the opposite isn't going to work either, where it's all women either. You need a balance, which is why I keep saying that I like mixed cast shows, like mixed cast books, things like that, because I think you need a good balance of both. And now basically, we've learned from the past that all men don't work, so now we need all women. And they have to be all are diverse, all white women with maybe one Latino, maybe possibly.
Pretty much what was it? Kate left was like, men are canceled, and she had a hashtag.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm totally serious. Kate left, who couldn't sell very many comics, had a hashtag on Twitter that men were canceled. Because some male creators had their books canceled.
It's inequality. It's revenge.
It's
revenge.
It's
bullshit revenge.
It's not even, it's revenge for... Okay, so my thing is like, because these kids are like 20 years old. Like, you grew up, after equal rights. Like, what? Revenge for what?
I don't know. And the thing that makes me mad is like, too, like, most people are redrawing the fan art. And like I said, if you look at 90% of the fan art, that's more feminine. And it's not like, and she's got boobs in most of them too. But that's what people hate. So it's going to redraw the fan art and give her boobs. That's something that looks like a dude.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I like the art and I understand, what we're basically saying is The Verge created an entire article defending new Shira by going out and finding people who are basically...
Who've never seen Shira.
Who are basically ambulance chasers. And I mean, I'm not trying to be like a dick, but...
That's the truth of the matter.
I've seen this so many times on Twitter and Tumblr that like what's the latest, but what's trending. Let's look at the list of trending topics, and then we're going to make fan art, and then we're gonna make sure we put our domain name here so people can come hire us, because obviously we're that awesome. We're on board with this, and please give us a job, because we're all art school students.
But the narrative they're spinning is people who are against it are small. That is fun. Look, she's got boobs and not man arms. People that are against it are a small group of people, and it's all men. And that is not the case, because I've brought many examples where, even on the comments, we're getting on different things, on friends who aren't even related to comics and stuff, they're posting about it, are like, what the hell is this? It's almost all women who are like, this is garbage, I hate this. They're like, oh, it's not for you, it's for kids. Well, a lot of people are parents of the kids, and the parents hate it, and then you ask the kids hate it too. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that the Tumblr crowd, who are going to give a shit about it when it comes out, they're going to be on to the next thing they think they can cash in on fan art for, are going to be on.
Yeah,
they're not even going to watch it or give you money for it.
Well, and that's the same with, like, again, that's just not trying to, like bad. There are some really talented artists on Tumblr, but, at the end of it, it's the same with kind of like, Steven Universe. Like, Steven Universe might be a really popular show. It gets lots and lots of fan art, but they can't sell merchandise because we see the Steven Universe toys on clearance all the time.
Well, about
like,
Steven Universe, I was saying that to you. Okay, this would be like, in a few years, someone's going to reboot Steven Universe. They're never going to watch Steven Universe. They're just going to see images of it. He's going to be some tall, handsome, 30-year-old guy. And, Rose Quartz is going to be some, skinny 12-year-old. Pearl's going to be some, really overweight, like 15-year-old girl of a different race, obviously, because we can't have her be white. And then all the gems.
Pearl's too white.
Because the gems have no gender, but they all look like women. Yeah. Now, to be fair, the gems are going to have no gender, but they look like men and women.
That's her fusion.
Garnet's going to be, some skinny white lady with a big hair.
No, that would never happen.
No, I'm saying. No, but I'm saying they're going to do this without watching it, and they're going to change everything about it.
I saw some fan art on Tumblr, and now I'm going to run the show.
Right.
Based on the fan art I saw.
These same people who are going about, you're such whiners about Shira. Get a chance. Will be the same people be like, what the hell did you do to Steven Universe? Oh, and it's going to be in an art style that's done like the really involved, like, really articulated, like the old, the old animation style in the 80s.
Right, like
Gem,
super
Shira.
muscular. Oh my God. Actually, I would love to see Steven Universe done in like Filmation style.
That's what I'm saying. It's like Filmation style. And then,
super buff
say,
Garnet.
And when they get mad about it, you just look at them and say, but it's not for you.
It's not for you. Yeah, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Today's, they're... When
you finally do get something that's new and not a copy of something
When
else.
these people grow up, okay, in
that could be a while.
20 or 30 years, they're going to have their childhoods... I would say they're going to have their childhoods raped like many of us older fans, but I don't know if that's going to happen because they just keep rebooting everything.
That's what you said.
Yeah, Steven Universe is like the only...
You have to have original things
that's the only...
to bastardize.
The only thing I can think of, Gumball maybe, and they'll do that. They'll bring new versions of these cartoon shows back, SpongeBob or something.
Yeah, Gumball would look like the old Filmation style, and
oh my God,
and it'll
be all CG or something. It'll be VR, Gumball VR. But whatever, and then they're going to complain, and we will be there, probably in wheelchairs and with walkers in the old folks' home.
We're not.
On our computer. Well, I'm talking like 30 years. We might be.
My parents are 30 years older than we are, and they aren't in walkers and wheelchairs in the old folks.
But we'll be there to tell you, I told you so, because you're going to complain about your stuff.
Real quick, because we've already passed the real quick. Go to where you said the Facebook page has not gone up at all.
Nope.
Still.
This is, I'm pretty sure that it's still hovering around the 2,500. So for all these people who like the Shira, and they like posting on Twitter and Tumblr of the Shira fan art. Real people, I mean, I hate to say it, but like the average people go use Facebook. Tumblr and Twitter are a totally different beast entirely.
That's a very specific crowd.
Very specific crowd. But like average people are not interested in Shira. And you look at the kind of the comments, which we showed before, that people aren't really too terribly into.
Yeah, when they're talking about the tiny group that's against it, it's actually more like the tiny group that's for it. Because most of the people I'm seeing all over the place do not like it. It is the vocal minority that are the Tumblr, Twitter, we want to be Noelle Stevenson, they're giving her all the credit when it's not all her anyway. People. And everybody else are like, what the hell is this? I mean, normal people are posting it like, what are they doing? And that's how most people are reacting.
It's been mixed. It's been very mixed on Facebook. the reaction
Most
to it.
of what I'm seeing from people, even people that are just like completely not into like the pop culture, comics, gaming and all that, just like normal people are posting the videos and like, what the hell they do to Shira? And these are mostly women too, by the way.
Yeah.
And they're like, why would they do this? That's what most people are asking.
Well, they haven't put anything else up. Now, I mean, we're still waiting for a trailer. And the show, I mean, I'm going to say, because people probably didn't get far in the video, it might be good. The show might be good. But the really flimsy defense of people who are leery of this new Shira is just ridiculous. To reach out to TUMBLR artists who have never even seen the original show and are just jumping on a bandwagon to defend...
Talking about their ownership.
Right.
Of said show that they say no one else has ownership of.
To defend a show that is like, the Netflix and DreamWorks have millions of dollars sunk into, basically fanfic.
Pretty much.
A fanfic for the Tumblr crowd. They've sunk all this money into Mattel, which is on the rocks financially. If they're banking on toy sales, they're not going to get toy sales from that audience.
From what I'm finding out and thinking, I'm thinking the person that was in charge of Mattel prior to this is who greenlit this, and it was a really bad idea. And that person's probably why Mattel's doing so bad right now. So
yeah, that's my understanding too. Because Mattel right now needs to sell toys. Just to put this in perspective, Mattel is hurting like terribly. Their toy sales are awful. They're laying people off. They got rid of Monster High, which was one of their biggest properties.
They outsold Barbie.
Yeah, they tried to reboot Monster High,
Too soon.
The fans didn't like the reboot, and they spoke with their wallets, and the toys are in the clearance bins now. Nobody cares. If they're banking on this Shira catering to the Tumblr crowd to bail them out with toy sales, that is not going to happen.
That was really stupid and short-sighted.
Yeah.
It wasn't even short-sighted. I mean, that's the common knowledge at this point. It's like you go where the money is, and that's not your crowd to sell it to. It's just not.
Right, right.
But for whatever reason, these companies just seem to like losing money. I don't know what it is, but they do.
I think what's going on, and I'll tell you, this is just my personal opinion watching the situation, and the same with Star Wars and the same with comics. I think the people in charge of these companies are looking at social media, and they're conflating social media upvotes and likes with an audience that will spend money. They're like, this person has 100,000 followers. If we get them on board, then we're going to have 100,000 customers. And that's not what happens. They're not real, we talked before with comics. You're better off having 100 people that buy your comic book than having 100,000 people that read it for free online.
Right.
And these companies are like, oh, this person has this massive social media presence. Let's put them in charge of our show. And you don't realize a lot of people with massive social media presence, it doesn't actually translate into dollars.
Well, it doesn't actually mean it's real either.
No, that's a whole other
that
thing,
we've talked about before. It's really easy to cheat your numbers and buy your numbers and all that. It's ridiculously easy. And everybody's like, well, Twitter did a purge. No, Twitter did a purge of the obviously fake accounts. If Twitter actually purged all real fake accounts, they'd probably lose half of their Twitter followers. Half their Twitter audience would be gone.
Twitter's not doing very well now, and now that they're cracking down on what you can and can't say on Twitter, I expect them to decline even further. Twitter's basically going to be Tumblr 2.0 by the time said and done. It's going to be a wasteland of fan artists and very, very far left people because all the other voices will have been driven out.
Well, I was going to say too, like with Twitter, if you go and actually look at people's followers and you look at who's following them, and you look at their accounts, after the purge especially, there's a bunch of accounts that suddenly are locked accounts because they're trying to protect accounts from being deleted. Or you go and see accounts that are following you and they might have like a crap ton of retweets and a crap ton of likes, but they themselves don't say much, or they might only have 2 tweets that were their own tweets, and they have no information about themselves or no picture. It's because they're fake accounts. There are so many fake accounts I can't even tell you. And if you actually look at some of these people's followers, there's a shit ton of fake accounts on some of these people.
Yeah.
So do not go by that and say, oh, they're so big, because that's not always the case.
No.
And businesses don't seem to understand that.
No, I think they're starting to come around now, but I think there was a time in from 2012 to 2015 especially where publishers and toy companies and television studios were like, who's the biggest thing on social media? Let's go hire them and give them a bunch of money and make us rich. And that didn't work. So now they need to be a little more choosy, and is this person appealing to the right audience? Does that audience have money? And I think, more and more, I mean, we're not saying that the show's, again, I'm not saying the show's going to be terrible, I think. But the fact that the people who are supporting it have zero knowledge of the original show is very
Yeah, well, I wonder how people that are on the I'll have to go look into it, the staff, how much experience do they have with it. I mean, if you're going to write something that is an established IP and you're going to work on something that's established IP, you better have flippin' had experience with the original IP before you start writing things. And my personal favorite of all this is fans in quotes, real people who actually liked it, have liked it for years, like quote unquote fans. They feel like there's ownership of it because it was there when you were a kid doesn't give you ownership of it.
Just
but
because
now
you
that
spent
it's new,
money on it.
Now that it's new and it's our thing, we have ownership. I never watched it.
Yeah,
I don't
know
think about it. I just, by the look of a character, I'm assuming it was boring. I'm assuming this. I never actually watched the show. I'm just making assumptions.
Yeah.
And now, I'm going to say that this new character is fantastic on a show that I've never watched because it's not out. So I'm again making assumptions, and I'm gonna say we have ownership of this. It's our ownership because we're the real fans on a show that we've never watched the past or present versions of, because there is no present version yet, and all you're gonna have is 4 pieces of fan art or 4 pieces of art from the show.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, that right there, and this is actually journalism. This actually shows up in
there is no such thing as journalism anymore.
This shows up in the Google News feed as a flimsy defense of, the design and backlash against the backlash, using people who have never actually watched the show. It's just a non-argument. It's just stupid.
Translation on all this is, I never watched the show. I saw pictures of it. I think I've been taught from Tumblr that women being objectified in outfits like that is wrong. I don't know, and I'm assuming she's a crappy character because she's obviously being objectified. And I like this new version because they put shorts on her, even though I still don't disagree with shorts in the skirt.
No, I mean, I don't even disagree with the costume. I'm just saying,
we're going to take her boobs off and make her look like a boy, and now we're going to defend this because, well, that's how it should be. Because I've never connected with the other thing, but I connect with this. So my strong female connection is a character looks like a boy, which that's a whole nother, like, right. What the hell. And we're going to take everything about her that's super feminine and get rid of it because I've been taught that's wrong. And we're going to go with, I've never watched the old show. I can't watch a new show yet. Yeah, I can't watch a new show yet, but I'm going to make all these broad sweeping generalizations about the old show and how bad it must have been because I don't like the character design. I'm like, oh my god.
Oh my god, like the shows back in the 80s, they like totally objectified women. Because look at her, she wore lipstick and high heels. Because, oh my god. So gross.
And women, you shouldn't dress like that to fight evil.
She shaved her legs to fight Hordak.
She needs, oh my god. We have to make her better. We have to make her look like a dude, and she needs shorts because no one wants to see her panties. If anyone wants to see her panties, that's just because they want to get hard on, and they're just a bunch of disgusting men who are, whacking off to Shira, who was 30 and now looks like she's 12. That's another story. And you know what, guys, you're still gonna whack off to Shira. Hate to break it to you.
Yeah, I think, I
think there's a bunch of women who are going to do things to Shira too.
I'm wondering. I mean, on Tumblr. Yeah, there are going to be a lot of women whacking off the 12-year-old Shira. This is my personal.
Flicking the bean to Shira. I'm just saying.
It's Tumblr's got some weird,
saying it's wrong for men
shit
to do that because they see old Shira. It's just as wrong for women to do it to new Shira or men to do it to new Shira.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are all kinds of people interested in all kinds of cartoons. And yeah, some of the fan art on Tumblr's.
But at the end of the day, isn't it supposed to be for kids? It's not for any of you.
It's not for you.
So any of these people making these art, even in their 20s, they have no business making art for it because it's not for them. It's for kids. The target audience on the show says they're for kids like 5 to 12. So unless you're a 5 to 12-year-old artist, you should have no interest in this. You should have no ownership of this. You should have no anything of this because it's not for you. It's for 5 to 12-year-olds. It's for another audience.
Yeah. I actually like this one.
Still looks like she's got a poop.
She does. It's her.
I like everything else about it.
Yeah, I like it. So I don't know. I mean, this is just so ridiculous. I mean, this is where we've gone. This is where the pop culture wars have gone to. Where, and it's the same with Star Wars. It's the same with comics. It's these flimsy, ridiculous excuses to try to dismiss any dissenting voices. We're not actually, sitting down talking about it. People are just like, oh my god, it's all icky white men, and they just want to jack off to, ew, It's all men. Men are bad.
Even though it's mostly women who don't like it.
Right.
And, I don't know. It's
well,
just,
my
head hurts
same
about
with comics. It's all a bunch of angry white Nazis who don't have anything better to do with their time except complain about comic books. When you actually look at who's upset about the comic book industry now, and it's a very, very broad slice of readers, all races, all genders, all ages, who are discussed with, but it always comes down to white men. Yeah, it always comes down to white men.
It's very dismissive to somebody who's not a white man to be dismissed, because it's like you don't even count enough to be mentioned. Like this whole thing with Shira pisses me off more than anything. We're supposed to be, oh, it's about girl power. It's all about girl power. It's about girls and women. But only men hate it. And it's like, but most of the people who hate it are women. Well, you're not even acknowledged. Either you're the woman who likes it or the man that hates it. And you're completely marginalized, terribly marginalized. And same for comics. Unless you're a straight white guy, you're marginalized. And it's really rude, because it's like, it's like, that's worse than what they're claiming they're mad about. It's like, they're speaking for you, they're not even looking to see what.
You're basically marginalized by angry white feminist women who are telling everybody else what they can and can't like.
You talk about those women that like the pumpkin spice everything, and like you're those white bitchy women who are going to be the ones that go argue with the manager at the restaurant and everything else because they think they're entitled, white, rich, bitchy women. It's like that.
Those are the people who are telling other people they can and
take
can't
away
like
the money.
Something. Yeah. They're the poor version.
Take away the money and knock off 10, 15 years off their age. There you go.
Yeah, that's the poor version of that. And again, it's just that kind of like, but it's so weird because they're the ones pushing for diversity, but it's diversity on their terms.
Yeah, that's just it. It's diversity on their terms. And it's not even about equality. It's about revenge. Perceived revenge.
Diversity is a room full of 20-something white women.
Or light skinned women.
Right.
Who may or may not be, lesbian or not, or bi.
Right. Which does not matter.
I'm just saying that seems to be the general. Right. That seems to be the general.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I hate this. And again, we're not trying to but we're seeing it more and more and more, where we basically have a bunch of the angry Tumblr mob trying to come in and take over all sorts of fandoms. And
if you weren't one of the people in the groups we mentioned and you're mad about it, it sucks to be marginalized, doesn't it? I'm just saying.
Okay, guys, we're going to wrap this one up. Clownfish TV, subscribe for more pop culture news and views, gaming videos, art videos. Again, we're just kind of ranting about Shira a little bit to give you an update on the situation, because there really hasn't been much of an update, which
There's
is
no update. It's
telling.
Just, guess what? There's some people who like it that are a small group trying to say that everybody who hates it's a small group when they're all angry men. And they think that they have ownership of a character they never actually watched or had any interest in until it was popular on Tumblr to do art of.
Yeah, headline, Tumblr artists who have never heard of Shira defend Shira.
I just say headline.
From the bad men.
Headline, Tumblr being Tumblr.
Tumblr being Tumblr. All right, guys, we're going to log off for now. Bye.